Exchange and Lagos Stock Exchange. We have been here since 2010 when we acquired Airtel from Zain, and ever since this company has been able to roll out its network to the far and deep parts of Nigeria, launched 4G services ahead of competition, and is now all set to launch 5G services today from Lagos. We'll be heading to Lagos immediately after this meeting. I had requested a meeting with His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, and I'm glad that we were given time early in his tenure to talk about Airtel, to talk about India, Nigeria, and importantly the upcoming G20 that is taking place in India. All in all, we had a very productive, very warm meeting with His Excellency and the entire team of senior people. And I must say I'm deeply touched with the speed and clarity of mind that the President and his team have displayed within a very short period of time. One of the biggest problems for foreign investors in this country for many, many years has been lack of easy available of foreign exchange. We as foreign investors who have spent billions of dollars here do not mind paying whatever the market rate is. The market must decide. But to be prevented from importing critical infrastructure equipment, paying invoices to our partners like IBM and other software agencies was making it extremely difficult for companies like Airtel, and I'm sure that must be the case with others as well. One of the key changes that His Excellency the President has made in the first few days of his tenure has been making Naira free float onto the market, letting the markets decide, as opposed to CBN's very convoluted structure of 4 or 5 exchange rates, which was very difficult to navigate for companies like ourselves and many, many others, MNCs. As you've all seen, the Naira has devalued, but the worldwide markets have given a standing ovation to this move. And the dollar bonds have strengthened here in Nigeria, and generally there is an excitement in the investing and companies who are going to be coming to put up their bases here in Nigeria. We also discussed the larger agenda at G20. Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, has taken upon himself to give tremendous amount of support to the agenda in Africa. I was appointed under B20 as the chairman of Africa Economic Integration Council, which I am leading, and I presented him the work that we have done in that council, which will be presented to G20 in August, and I'm very hopeful that that particular recommendation will be adopted by G20 in their meeting in September. This will enable the African continent countries under AFCTA, the AFTA, and otherwise to trade between themselves in a more powerful way, in perhaps local currencies, ensuring that the duty advantages of trading within the continent are better, and this continent flourishes for its 1.5 billion and growing population as fast as they can. I also saw His President's deep commitment to removing poverty. I come from a country, India, where we also have had decades of poverty, which has been rapidly minimized and eradicated in some parts through intervention of massive infrastructure investment, massive digital ecosystem creation, and using digital infrastructure to provide services by the government to its citizens, be that direct benefit transfer in the form of cash in the hands of people, biometric-based banking transactions, biometric-based health services. During the COVID time, India, as you know, through the biometric could ensure that every citizen of the country was inoculated and vaccinated. And all these things that the technology can offer and more are now fully at display in India and available to its friendly countries in Africa like Nigeria. We discussed that part as well. I leave Abuja with great excitement, with clear commitment from our side that we will make significantly more investments here, roll out 5G in a very faster way, put more fiber into the ground, put more data centers, and importantly, support the flourishing technology startup ecosystem, which again India has done extremely well. So I remain committed on behalf of Airtel, on behalf of India. I want to offer my greetings and importantly thank His Excellency the President of Nigeria for having taken the time to meet us with these key members of his team. So with that, I will hand over briefly to Shekhar to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Chairman. We came to say a big thank you to the President for the right environment he's creating for businesses to thrive. And in our own case, Nigeria is a very big part of our agenda. We operate in 14 countries. Nigeria is the largest out of these 14 countries. And we're firmly committed to the growth of Nigeria. We're firmly committed to the prosperity of this country. It's a country of 220 million people. And we believe that for Africa to prosper, Nigeria must prosper. And that is why we're here. We're providing connectivity. We also supporting different causes. Just last night we launched the 7th edition of our Airtel Touching Lives program. Most of you are very familiar with this program. What we do is to support people who have any needs, whether there's a need for medical intervention, there's a need for community borehole. We do believe that for any entity, for any company, to be a great entity or to be a great person, you must be a good one. That is part of our DNA. We're part of the communities where we operate. We earn our social license every day by supporting causes in our various communities. So it's not so much about making money for us, it's about making money in a sustainable manner by creating a much more prosperous community. And that's what we've done in all the countries where we operate in Africa. And we came to just emphasize our commitment to this country, to His Excellency the President. And we're looking for ways of partnering the President in furthering the agenda of digitization of the country. And my chairman has explained to the President how within a generation, like a miracle is happening in India through the power of digitization, by combining the power of connectivity with that of digital identity and that of a mobile wallet. The three clear futures have lifted so many millions out of poverty, creating a generation of prosperity for the largest country in Asia. And we just feel that thing can be transferred to the largest country in Africa. So once again, thank you for coming here this afternoon. We take a couple of questions, and I just wish everyone a very good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you.
Exact number I can give you, but all I can tell you is $400 million is what we generally invest every year. With 5G, the investment is only going to go up for the next 2 or 3 years before it comes back to that same $450 million a year. And we have invested just under $4 billion since the time we have come into Nigeria. Million is being invested ongoing. And another about 600 to 700 million, depending on where the price negotiations happen. And also we are looking at the Naira rate settlement, because that's a sudden movement right now that has to be adjusted. There will be 500 to 700 million additional investment in the next 2 years. I came for the first time in 2010, before we made our investment. I had come to Lagos. I spent a few days. I was deeply touched by the energy that I saw in Lagos. There is chaos, and I come from India. I have seen chaos in many of my cities as I've grown up. But within that, there is a method, there is an energy, and one could see that if there is one country in Africa which has the potential to be the next big economic powerhouse, it clearly is Nigeria. That gave me very clearly a very strong reason for us to come and invest in a big way in Africa. And as Shekhar rightly pointed out of the, at that time, 16 countries, we have sold out 2 countries, Sierra Leone and Burkina Faso. Nigeria was the largest piece. So without Nigeria, it was pointless for us to go into smaller countries next door in Niger, Gabon, Chad. So without Nigeria, our Africa strategy doesn't work, because that is the anchor of our Africa strategy. So that was the reason. And I can tell you, this country has tremendous future. With 220 million people, young people, energetic people, in the next 10 years, you'll be the 3rd largest nation in the world. And if you are on the path that we have recently seen, floating of Naira, taking fuel subsidy out, organizing your oil production in a better way, I think the future is going to be glorious for this country. Thank you.
Thank you.